Okay, we're on. We are live. We're going to be cooking, maybe. We'll see how it all goes. Hello to anybody and everybody who's here and interested in a little bit more about my new cookbook, my debut cookbook, which is absolutely amazing that this happened. So I will give you a little bit of a story about me, I suppose, really. My name is Poppy O'Toole, but actually more well known as Poppy Cooks. And I started a TikTok account back in March 2020 when I lost my job because of the pandemic. Now, I've been a chef for like a decade, about 10 years. I've been an actual chef. So I've worked in Michelin-starred restaurants. That's where I kind of like trained. I've worked in fine dining restaurants. I've worked in fancy all members clubs and stuff like that. And I never got a chance to really do social media before, and I didn't really think much of it. Not much of it, but I didn't think I'd do it. I never thought I'd actually be doing it. So when March 2020 came around, they were like, oh, so you've lost your job, everything's closed, you're going to have to go. I was like, oh, no, what am I meant to do? What am I going to do? So I took to the new kind of platform TikTok, and I'm very lucky that people really enjoyed it. And I like to think that I created potato talk, or potato, as you might like to call it, when I did 25 days of potatoes. And I've managed to somehow secure a book deal. So within a year, I've got a book out, which is super, super exciting. And I really wanted to base this on, learning tools. So it's all about learning. And I kind of reflected it from my social media accounts as well, I suppose. So no question is too silly, and nothing is, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know what I mean. So the book kind of has a premise around learning and teaching. And so it goes through 12 chapters, which I think are all really good skills to have in the kitchen. So it's from making your own tomato sauce, to making your own white sauce, to making your own mayonnaise, to making your own pastry, to making your own custard, and all those sorts of things. So there's 12 of those throughout. There's also stuff like confit garlic, which I think it's just a lovely thing to be able to do in the kitchen. And then you can have jars and jars of confit garlic, which is delicious. So it goes through those 12 core skills, I suppose. And then you get a staple dish from that. So your staple dish is something like, it's quite familiar, maybe something you have for dinner anyway. So that's using that core recipe. And then it goes into a brunch dish, which is using that core recipe. And then it goes into a potato dish, as you know, potato queen and all that. So every chapter has a potato dish, which is using that core recipe. And then it goes into like a fancy AF dish using that core recipe again. So let me show you a little bit. Let me sneak a peek over here. So this is the front of it. There's me. Wow. I wish I looked like that every day. Spaghetti. Yes, we love a bit of spaghetti. So let's find some nice little pictures. This is me and my dog. There's Kipper and Crypto, my babies, my little pugs. Had to be in the kitchen with me. You know what? It's actually very good luck to have dogs in the kitchen with you. It is very good luck, I think. I tell myself it is anyway. So there's all stuff about me in the front. You get to know me a little bit more if you want to. And then this is basically how it's set out. So you get the core recipe, the staple dish, the brunch dish, the potato dish, and the fancy AF dish, which is a lot of recipes. So let's pick one out. Savoury pastry. So this is savoury pastry, stuff that you use for like pies, tarts, quiches, all these sorts of things. So here's my recipe. Here's the core recipe for savoury pastry. Lovely. Oh, I'm falling. My whole table just moved. Sorry, guys. And then your staple dish is like a cheese and onion pie. Yes, a cheese and onion pie. One of the most delicious things in the world. Then that goes into your brunch dish, which is a brekkie quiche. So it's got everything of like a full English breakfast within a quiche, which is gorgeous for brunch. And if 2020's taught us anything, it's that brunch is one of the best things in the whole world. That's what we're eating every day. Then it goes into a potato dish, which is me eating a Bombay potato pasty. Beautiful. Look at the modelling on that. I did eat a lot of those as well on set. Shouldn't have really. And then your fancy AF dish, which is a bit more effort. It's going to be for more of those, I don't know, having your family, having friends over. You've got a Stroganoff pie. So, I mean, look at that. It even says pie on it. So I made beef stroganoff and I had to put it in a pie because it's delicious. So also gives you, you know, how to change that into a vegetarian option and stuff like that. So I've tried to make it as accessible as physically possible by still giving you delicious recipes to make every day. I've got, you know, I've been a chef for about 10 years, about a decade of my life. Been a chef, worked in Michelin-starred restaurants, worked in fine dining restaurants, worked in, I worked in Mayfair, and Mayfair in London's proper posh. Worked there, it was great. And I didn't fit in, but it was good fun. So worked in Mayfair, and then unfortunately I lost my job because of the pandemic in March 2020, and I started making TikToks, which saw me do, I did a series that was what a chef does, what a chef eats who is unemployed, hungry, and trying to be healthy. And that was just like my day-to-day eating and what I like to eat. And that's where it all began. And then we started doing potatoes, and it just rocketed. So if we get book number 2, we should just do potato. Anyway, I'm going to have a little look and see if there are any questions at the minute, which I've got my glamorous assistant to bring over to me. I won't show him, but let's have a little look. Let me see what these questions are. I'm intrigued. I saw there was quite a few questions on there earlier, which is great. It's coming. It's taking a sweet time. No, I'm joking. But so it's super exciting, and I cannot believe that I've got a book. I've got a recipe book, which is just so amazing. I'll show you a bit more of the pictures, I suppose, whilst I'm here. So what's really good as well for Thanksgiving, that's in November, isn't it? Perfect for Thanksgiving is this chapter, which is all about upping your roast dinner. All about upping your roast dinner. So this chapter is set out the same, but a little bit different because there's so much stuff in it. So this is what your Thanksgiving dinner could look like if you follow everything from the book. So we've got a recipe for herb roasted chicken. I'll come round and show you again. We've got herb roasted chicken. Delicious. We've got apples and pared pork. Yes, look at the crispiness on that. We've got a smoked and stout beef. Now, I like my roast beef quite pink, but again, no judgment. Cook it how you want. Smoke and stout beef, which gives a beautiful gravy. Oh my God, the gravy on that is the best. A vegan red onion tartare. You've always got to have a backup in case the vegans turn up, or vegetarians, or anybody who doesn't want to eat meat. Then you've got good pork stuffing down here. We've got potatoes boulangère, which is up here in this blue one. And that is potatoes and onion layered up with chicken stock or vegetable stock over it, and you just bake it. It's just, it's just melt in the mouth, delicious. You've got apple mash, it goes really well with pork. Super easy. Of course, roast tatties, some just delicious roast potatoes. Yorkshire puddings. I don't think you guys have Yorkshire puddings, but you should definitely try Yorkshire puddings. They are delicious. We've got honey parsnip crumble. Yeah, so you got your honey parsnips with a delicious herby crumble over it. This bench is moving again. Too heavy for it. We've got butter roasted carrots. And by butter roasted, I mean cooked completely in butter and just fall apart in your mouth. Cauliflower le cheese, or cauliflower cheese. One of the best ones. I make this every year and people lose their minds. We've got braised red cabbage, and this is what your plate should look like at the end. You've got everything on it. Oh, I love roast dinner. And then this is fun. This is a little picture of everything demolished at the end. But that's some of the stuff that you can get in there, as well as like your more everyday stuff like pastas and and potatoes, I suppose. So I've got a question from Kira. What's your favorite thing about potatoes? Oh God, there's so many things. So favorite thing about potatoes are they're just really versatile, aren't they? They just do everything. You can make a whole dinner out of it using like a jacket potato. You can make just a side dish. You can make little nibbles. It can be the main star. It can just they just do everything. We've also got Kyle who says, "How do I convince my parents that a steak does not need to be well done?" You can get my book and it tells you a delicious way to have steak. So the best way to try and convince somebody not to have steak well done is to slowly just keep cooking their steaks. You cook their steaks for them if you can, right? And just every time, just cook it a little bit less. And just every week, just be like a little bit less, and make sure you rest your steaks. So the same amount of time that you cooked it, let's say you cook it for, I don't know, be about 9 minutes for like a well done steak, maybe 10 minutes. You still want to rest it for 10 minutes. You take it off the pan, you take it off the heat, and you rest it for the same amount of time that you cooked it. And then that will get all of like the red juices back into the meat, and then it won't be like bloody when they cut it. So they won't really bother that much, which will be more convincing. Hopefully you can bring them around to the dark side, which is having your beef and steak. I don't know. I like mine medium rare. They have not however you want, but well done. Well done. Sometimes, you know what, actually, because my grandparents kind of used to have their steaks well done, there's part of me that's like kind of enjoys it a little bit, but I shouldn't. But still, try and convince them not to. Ellie has asked, what is your favorite thing about working in a restaurant, and what was your least favorite? That is a good question. So my favorite thing about working in a restaurant, it's got to be just having, you know, all of your work colleagues, and you eventually become friends because you're working with them like 70 hours a week, so you're always with them, just always being around you, which is really good fun. And you can like bounce ideas off of each other, and you can help each other get out of the issues that happen in the kitchen. So, you know, when someone's not doing very well and they're going down, and the orders are coming in, it's just the camaraderie of it, so everyone can like get involved and help each other out. Also, like, just being able to be with people all day, I suppose. I mean, it's been an absolute blessing, you know, not being at work at the minute, but something about being in a kitchen full of people is really good fun, and just having people around constantly. But my least favorite thing about kitchen, well, it can be quite toxic. It can be quite nasty in there. So only occasionally though, and only some kitchens. Most of them are right, but when it gets a little bit too stressful and there's no backing off from it, sometimes some people just keep going. So it needs to be a little bit less scary to go into, but apart from that, it's really good. It's a fun environment to be in. So Olivia has asked, how did you grow your TikTok audience? So it was really quite quick, actually. I started off and I did what a chef eats in a day, and that kind of saw a lot of traction. So series work really well on TikTok. So people want to come back for more the next day. They want to see more the next day. And so I started doing like what a chef eats in a day, and then I just did a random potato recipe. And I was like, I literally wasn't even going to record it at one point. It was just crispy potatoes. And it was the first video that I had that got 1 million views. And I was like, at that point, I was only hitting about 10,000 views a post, which was massive, absolutely huge at that point. But then this got like 1 million, and I was like, oh my God, okay, right. So crispy potatoes, people really like. And you've got to keep an eye on what your audience likes as well, and what people are interested in. So I tested it again with another potato recipe, and that reached like hundreds of thousands of views as well. And I was like, okay, people like a potato, people love potato. So I knew that the UK was going into another lockdown in November. So I was like, right, well, I've got everybody in the UK is going to be sat at home every single day. What can I do to get their attention? And so I did 25 days of potatoes, and it just went absolutely wild. So I started off November with like 100,000 followers, which was so much. And then about a week into doing 25 days of potatoes, it was like 200,000 followers. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I did a compilation video, and I could see that all these kind of like little corners of TikTok were developing. So there was like dance TikTok, there was like comedy TikTok, there was pasta TikTok, and all these sort of different things. And I thought, well, why don't we just make potato TikTok? So I just did a compilation video of all these recipes that I'd done, and I spoke over it. I just spoke over it, being like, hello and welcome to potato TikTok. And it just went wild. I went to bed with like 200,000 followers, and I woke up with like 1 million. And I was like, what? So that was how I made my audience. So what you have to do is make a potato TikTok and you'll be all good. But that was absolutely mind-blowing. I was never expecting it. And amazing. It was just incredible. So from then, I've just been trying to keep up. You know, we've still grown almost another 1 million followers since then, which is amazing. And just trying to keep engaging content, really. So I like to keep potatoes in the mix, of course. It's always good fun. And then also just trying to bring a little bit of my own recipes in as well, and what I like to eat and cook. And just keeping it to who you are, keeping it to being authentically what you do, whether that's dancing, singing, cooking, eating, comedy or dancing, whatever it is, just keep doing what you do. JT has asked, have you always loved to cook? Is there a certain person you would attribute your love to cooking to? Yeah, so I absolutely love cooking. You know what it is? I actually love eating. Eating's my favourite thing to do. And as a kid, I realised that if you wanted to eat more, you had to be in the kitchen helping cook. If you can help to cook, then you'll be able to eat some more bits and bobs. So I used to be in the kitchen constantly, and I would be just my nan was a big cook. My nan was a massive cook. She loved cooking. Everything to do with cooking was love, and bringing it to the table and just, you know, feeding her family was absolute love. And like, she'd always be cooking like minced meat. So minced beef would always be, and then I'd literally like grab spoonfuls of it and just eat like cooked, but like just minced meat, nothing else in it. And weird stuff like that. So my nan was a big influence on what I like to eat and cook. And she taught me a lot of it. And she just been in the kitchen. So I kind of copied her. My mom was a really good cook as well. And when I was at school, I was just terrible at school, really, really bad. I just don't get sitting and reading and writing. Like, it just doesn't compute for me very well. So when I got into like cooking, I was like, oh, okay. So actually, I'm not like stupid. I can learn quite easily. I just have to do it practically. And it all kind of clicked for me that this is something that I wanted to do. So yeah, my nan and my mom were a big part in me cooking. And then also I grew up kind of like watching Gordon Ramsay on telly, and Nigella and Delia Smith and Keith Floyd and all these British celebrity chefs. Sorry, my dogs are now just barking. I just heard something outside. I was like, what is that? The fireworks. And so they were a big influence on me as well. Because you just sit there, me and my nan would sit there with like a recipe book each and just watching a chef on telly. It was great fun. So, what else do we have? Lindy, that's a nice name. Boys, I'm talking and you're in the book and they're going to see who's barking. That's not fun. You're going to be known for the barky dogs. You're going to be known for the barky dogs. Sorry, I've excited them now. So Lindy said, when you created your first cooking video, what was going through your head? Did you think you were going to become a viral sensation? No, never. Never, ever, ever, ever did I think that this would be my career path now, I genuinely thought I was I did it because I went back. So basically I live in London, work in London in the UK, and obviously lockdown happened and everyone was like, get out of London now, run. So I like called my mum and dad. I was like, can you pick us up quickly, please? It was all like secret mission to try and get out of London. So we went back and I was spending time with little brother and sister who were like 13 and 11 or 13 and 10. And they were just like on their phones, like, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? They're like TikTok. And I was like, oh, okay, I've heard about this. I know what this TikTok thing, the TikTok. And my little sister was like, oh, you should have a go. Let's just have a go with it. So we just did some like videos she wanted to make, like churros and stuff like that. And I never ever passed my mind that it would be what I'm still doing now. It's amazing, it really is. But I genuinely thought I was going to go back to the kitchen in about 3 weeks' time. I was like, oh, I'll be back in the kitchen soon. So it never occurred to me that this was going to be. I never thought I'd be sat here with a recipe book and you know, and everything that's been going on. So it's been absolutely incredible. So I've got all of these to sign, which is very exciting. I need to practice my signature a little bit because I'm not very good at it. And I don't know if I can get it into these little squares. So hang on. The pressure. I had to make a signature for it because my actual signature is absolutely horrendous. Let me show you. Can I show you? Yeah, I can. Hang on. My actual, so please don't, do any fraud or anything, but no, maybe I shouldn't. It doesn't matter, does it? This is my, so I've had this signature since I was 10. What is that? I don't even know what that is. What is that? And then I had to recreate one. I don't know why it's so lopsided, but it's lopsided for Poppy Cooks. Because she can't be seen with that, can she really? I mean, come on. Can you hear my dogs? Oi, shh. Or you'll come up here and you'll talk to everybody. I say everybody, me. So yeah, I'm going to practice a little bit of my autograph, which sounds weird when you say that. Derek has asked, what's the first restaurant you ever worked at? So Derek, to start with, I worked at a pub, actually. I worked at a pub called the Queen's Head in Burntwell in Bromsgrove. And it was in between doing my A-levels. So I was like 16, 17, 18, around that time. And I was in there. I worked actually to begin with as like front of house. So I was doing bar work, I was doing tables, and then I begged and pleaded with the chef. I was like, please let me into the kitchen. I know that I could be quite good at it. And eventually he let me in. And it was absolutely terrifying. And I started off just on the on the pot wash as a kitchen porter, and I was just peeling potatoes, ironically, and cleaning up stuff. And then eventually they let me actually into the kitchen, and I was allowed to like make desserts and starters. So that was amazing. But in that time I was also working at a care home. So I was working in the kitchens in a care home. So I'd be making I was making like corned beef hash for all these patients, and going around with a tea trolley, which was I really enjoyed it actually. I'd sit there with them because they had like the lounge that everyone would sit in. So I'd sit and do the teas for everybody. And then I'd sit down with someone as well and just have a cup of tea with them. Because unfortunately it was a dementia ward, so I didn't have any idea really what was going on. So I could just sit with them. I could just sit and have a cup of tea with these people and have a talk about their life. And it was really good fun. And I'd watch TV and basically get away with just sitting with old people, which was a dream. I love it. And then I saw an apprenticeship come up with a Michelin-starred restaurant in Birmingham, which is where I'm from. And I was like, oh, I might be a bit too old. I think I was 18 at the time. No, 17 at the time. And I was like, I think I'm a bit too old for this apprenticeship, because you normally go in at about 15, 16 into these apprenticeships. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to apply for it. And I'm very, very lucky. I actually got it. I got into this apprenticeship. And that's when I started my real career in food, I suppose, because it was where my eyes were open to this whole new world of the hospitality industry, and this whole new world of like cuisine and gastronomic phenomenon, and like liquid nitrogen and gels and foams and dehydration and all this and sous vide. And I was like, what? It was fantastic. And then I went to like this other, so I was there for like 3.5 years, and I worked from apprentice, and I became a demi chef de partie. So I worked my way up a bit, which is pretty good. And then I went to a fine dining restaurant in Birmingham, a bit more experimental. We had like ants on the desserts and stuff, really good fun. And that's where I kind of got to like create more things. Like I got to be a bit more like, there was only 4 of us in the kitchen, so they had to listen to us anyway. So I got to be like, I want to do this dessert and I want to make this, and, which was really good fun. And then I moved to London, and I was working in a bank, but in the client dining. So it was kind of a la carte menu, fine dining for the bankers and their clients. So that was a lot of pressure. Oh, that was a lot of pressure, it was. Because, these people are dealing with a lot of money and they want very good food. So that was good fun. And then I finished off in a female members only, oh my God, what's it called? Club. Female members only club. What is it called? Members club. Oh my God, my mind. Woo. A female members only club. Female members only club. That's how you say it. Wow. So I ended up there, and I was junior sous chef there. So that's my journey thus far. Let's have a look. So there's loads of questions on here. Hang on. Ryan has asked, what's the hardest dish you've ever had to make? The hardest dish. Ooh, let's think. The hardest dish I've ever had to make. That's really difficult. I think one of the hardest ones I ever had to make was a macaroon in the Michelin starred restaurant I worked in, and no one could quite get the recipe right. Like, and it's always every single time there was something a little bit not quite perfect. Trying. And then we cracked it. And then I had to make it, and it was my sole duty to make this macaroon. So it was a violet macaroon with, what was it? Was it lemon ice cream and cherries? I can't quite remember all of it, but it was so many components. There was gels, there was ice cream, there was a sorbet, there was a macaroon, there was a powder and a tuile, and was the lemon zest as well. And I had to do there was like 6-7 elements to this dish, and it was my sole responsibility. And I was like, we've only just worked out how to make these macaroons. Are you expecting me to do this whole dish? Delicious though, but difficult. Another question, Rachel, what is your go-to meal to cook? Ooh, I think it's going to be go-to meal. One from the book. Hang on. This is the easiest. This is like the quickest recipe in here. And it is, where are you? It is one of my favorite things. Pesto pasta. Can you go wrong with pesto pasta? Let me find it. Where are you? So you make confit garlic. You also don't have to make confit garlic. It's up to you. That's what I like. I'm not here to push anything on you. You can just use normal garlic if you want. So you make confit garlic, and then you make a really, really quick pesto. In the time you're boiling your pasta, you boil your greens up in it, you put a little bit of pepper in there, you've got this beautiful dinner. Go to, easy. You can use anything in the fridge, anything in the freezer, any shape of pasta, little bit of pesto, Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, are all having a great dinner. So I think, let me have a quick look through these. One more thing. Oh my God, sorry. So Sarah said, "Hi, Potato Queen, big fan of yours, and can't wait to get your new book. If you had one piece of advice for someone who is just starting out in the industry, what would it be?" Listen. My only thing would be to literally listen to people. One thing that I did when I was starting out is that I thought that I knew everything because I watched TV shows. You don't. Listen to the people in the kitchen with you, because they will tell you the best way to do things. And I think that's everything for now. But I'm going to make a move, and I'm going to say thank you very much to everybody, and hope you enjoy Poppy Cooks the Food You Need. Lovely. All right.
Hey, this is John Acuff, New York Times best-selling author of 7 books and someone who's done a live signing. If you like the one you just watched, make sure you check out our YouTube channel. It's full of amazing authors having great conversations and signing books for viewers just like you. So make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching today.